All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry for starting late. That's how this streaming thing goes. You intend to start at a certain time, and then you have to make all the preparations, and then before you know it, you're starting a little bit later. Let me make sure. Yep, there's a live. Oh, I got 2 likes. Thank you to those of you who liked this stream even before it started. That's always cool. That means somebody is looking for it. And as a content creator, that's always a good feeling. Okay. There is the red icon. Oh, I see another like. Okay. There is an ad. YouTube is a business, one which some are profiting from more than others. Okay. So all this is going to be I decided to make this an open money discussion. The crew is going to come back. I think, well, I know Salchi's going to come up, and he's in the financial sector. Alonzo, I think he's going to come through. He's in the financial sector. And Sheed is a jack of all trades. So, but on his channel, if you're subbed to Sheed, you know that he talks about life insurance and budgeting almost daily, pretty much daily. That's part of, those are 2 integral parts of the Sheed gospel. So I'm going to play my new truncated intro regarding different worlds, and then I'm going to read something, and then I'm going to back out of the way and see what some of the other guys have to say. This is going to be an open discussion, so I think we're all just going to freestyle it a little bit. All right. So let me find my... And wouldn't you know it, okay. No, that's for the Science Channel. Those are some football. Okay. This always happens. You start the stream and you don't have all of your stuff queued up. Give me a second here. For consistency, you want to make sure everything is standardized. Please smash that like button if you're coming in. Okay. There are drops there. Okay, nope. Let's see. How are you all doing today? Let me know who's there in the chat. If you want to let me know who's there in the chat. All right, it's not there. Let me look one more place for this, and then if I can't find it, then I'll just go ahead and get going. There we go. Updated intros. All right. Yeah, whoever is there in the chat, yeah, let me know who's there. How are you doing today? How was your week? It was a pleasant day here in the DMV weather-wise. I think we're making that transition from summertime to fall. Fall and spring are my favorite seasons here because I can wear the pea coats and the scarves and the hats. Okay, there's my intro. I'll see you guys on the other side. This one is much more brief. Let me slow down. This one is much more brief than the others. Here we go. Because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for this second discussion on this controversial but important topic. Do either of you have any parting words?
I do. And it's just thank you for having us. I really appreciate it. You ask questions in such a way that I don't know what your perspective is. I think as a host, that's exactly perfect. It's difficult, but you get more on the table from guests if you're not the story. And I really, really appreciate talking to you.
All right. I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Anwar.
Because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. In this world, we're all living in different worlds, and we're not all privy to the same information. You know what? I'm going to disclose something. That intro, that was my discussion with Dr. That was one of my discussions with Dr. Anthony Davies and James Harrigan. That was more of a podcast format. I want to move more towards that. But they have their own podcast. It's called the Words and Numbers podcast. And I think with the election coming up next year, that would be a beneficial podcast for everyone to listen to, regardless of what race, color, creed, background you come from. Is that how Dr. King said it? Every race, color, creed. Anyway, so those are two gentlemen, and I want to do another podcast with them. I'm waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully they say yes, but I like information, and regardless of who it comes from, if there's value to it, there's value to it. The person could be white, yellow, brown, purple, orange. And I'll just say, okay, I won't single the parent out, but on this channel, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller. One of my folks, someone from the boomer generation, well, I already said one of my folks. One of my folks heard me listening to the Words and Numbers podcast. Anthony and James, they use a still when they do it. And one of my parents, the first question was, what color are they? And I said, well, who cares? Well, for that generation, for many in that generation, and maybe even in subsequent generations, the color of the person giving the information matters. But I would challenge everyone. I think most of my subscriber base over here is Black. I would challenge you all, don't just discard information because it doesn't come from somebody Black. I mean, there's a lot we can learn from people of other races and walks of life. And again, that's those guys are from the Words and Numbers podcast, and I would encourage everyone here to listen to that, especially with what's coming up next year. A lot of people are afraid of what's coming next year. A lot of people are cautious and worried about what's happening, what's going to come next year with this next election. There's a lot going on in the world. At the church I attend here in Northern Virginia, the pastor actually stated that on Sunday from the pulpit that a lot of people are concerned, I think, about some sort of civil unrest, or, well, I better not go too far down this road. I don't know if YouTube will knock the string down for me saying that. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying there are people worried about that. Anyway, tonight's stream, an open money stream. I see she there in the chat. She, thank you for stopping through. Chaos Rain, thank you for stopping through. Chaos Rain. So I guess you could say Sheet is one of my motivations for doing this. I want to move to more of a podcast format, so the mix for this channel. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed over the years. This channel has evolved, as have I. So I've mentioned the Chris Williamson Modern Wisdom podcast. That's not a live stream podcast. That is those are all pre-recorded. But what Chris does, and that's another podcast I would encourage everyone here to watch. I mean, again, he's not Black, but there's a lot of valuable information that comes from people of other races, ethnicities, and walks of life. But that podcast, it's pre-recorded, so it's not this live stream format. There are advantages to both, but in the future, if I have my way, I'll move more towards that. Now, the trick is that Chris, he's always interviewing subject matter experts. So writers, podcasters. So you gotta, and I think he does it full time. He does his podcast full time. So Chris has time to read the books and the Substacks that these other people, his guests, create. For those of you who don't know, Substack is an alternative platform for writers. So if you ever hear Substack, that's what that is. So that's where I'm moving towards. So and on Tuesday, I hope people will tune in. I'm interviewing this gentleman. He's from my hometown of Buffalo, New York. This is Dr. Sean Nelms. And he just wrote this book here, Leading with a Purpose, Empowering Others to Create Lasting Change. So he's in the education system, the school system up in Rochester, New York. Sean is a fellow Buffalonian, and he went to our academic rival in high school, and he played basketball. That's part of how I know who he is. But he's a subject matter expert, much like Alonzo. And so I'm going to have him come over and talk about his career path, his life, and his book. Okay, so look out for that. Please, please tune in. I think everybody's going to learn something there. Okay, where did tonight's stream come from? So everyone, if you're watching live and you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. The super chat is live. And if you're watching on the playback, you can also leave a super thanks. So where did this stream come from? Well, you guys know that I'm a writer myself. I'm a blogger. I'm looking to get a book out. I've been talking about it forever, but it's a long process. And well, sometimes life happens and things don't. It's a squiggly line. I think Uncle Ron Wills mentioned that in one of his one of his videos, because he doesn't do live streams. Success is a squiggly line, and he's probably going to come in and talk to us about something. I invited him back for October, but I read things when I open up my Microsoft Edge browser. There are articles everywhere, and this article here caught my attention. This is entitled, "Sheet, I see you backstage. Please be patient." I saw this article. This Sheet will probably perk up when he sees this. This is from Market Watch. And it is entitled, I am paycheck to paycheck. I make $350,000 a year, but have $88,000 in student loans, $170,000 in car loans, and a mortgage I pay $4,500 on a month. Do I need professional help? So I'm not going to read this. This is in the description box below in case someone wants to read it. But there was a term in there that that caught my eye, and it's called Parkinson's Law. And I decided to do a stream on this before I said, hey guys, why don't you come over and talk about what's going on in the money world? So I'm going to read this piece explaining what Parkinson's Law is. And then I'll open it up for Sheet and Salchi. And if Alonzo comes, he can come up as well. I want to keep the lineup tight tonight. So as of now, it'll just be the four of us. So Parkinson's Law. What is Parkinson's Law? And what does this mean for right now when things are inflated? Fuel, gasoline is inflated. Groceries are inflated. Everything. Yeah, my grocery bills are subtly higher It seems like the money's not going as far. I know the salmon at Trader Joe's is about the same, but things do feel more expensive, even though they don't look it. Okay, so Parkinson's law. And this gets to Parkinson's law. This gets to why I chose the thumbnail I chose for the stream. I'm sure who out there has seen the YouTube ad? What's it? Timu, Timu. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. About a month ago or 2 months ago, that ad was playing all the time, and as I was clicking on videos, I was like, "What the hell is this?" It showed that woman, and I think other women shopping and having a good time. And Salty, you never saw that ad? It was all throughout YouTube. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. And when I thought about that ad, when I thought about this topic, I thought about that ad. That's why I used it for the thumbnail. Spend on whatever you want to spend on, but it's just interesting that there you go. Afro Aquateki says, I'm absolutely sick of Timu ads. It's Timu. I'm shopping like a billionaire. And that almost begs the question, why would you promote something like that when we're in this inflationary period and people are having a hard time making ends meet? And then I said to myself, well, this must be their acknowledgement of the she economy. So for those who don't know, I've covered this a little bit on my science channel and maybe a little bit here. Businesses, the government, they're paying attention to, and there are actually articles on this that by 2030 there's going to be predicted a large number of single women without children or a mate. So there are whole businesses and financial strategies emerging based around that specific trend. So businesses and corporations are banking on that, and they are planning accordingly. All right, that's why we're probably seeing ads like that from Temu. Okay, Sheed, I see you went away. This is not a long piece. So different worlds and different information. That goes for what news you watch, social media, social class, and also the financial information that you have. Different worlds, different perspectives. What are you privy to and what are you not privy to? So one of the things when you start working, when you start your career, and if you start saving for retirement and you start investing money in life insurance, one of the principles that comes up is as your income increases, do you need to spend more money? Okay. Or should you hold your expenses low even as your salary increases? And for a lot of people, their salary goes up, their expenses follow right along with it. Some people consciously, even as their salary or their income, I'll say income, as their income goes up, they still try to hold their expenses down here and do things with the difference between the two. So that's what this is about. So I'm not telling anyone what to do. Sometimes people watch my videos. People have watched my videos and said, you're telling people to do this, this, and this. No, I'm not. I'm sharing information here. Okay. This is entitled How the Rich Defy Parkinson's Law. And this is from My Money Sage. And this was written in December 13th, 2019. By Kishore Kumar Balpali. So this individual must be East Indian. Okay, I promise this is not long. When they read Parkinson's, most of the people think of Parkinson's disease. However, Here I'm talking about the Parkinson's law. This law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. This was written in 1955 by Northcote Parkinson, a British naval historian and author. All of us might have experienced the law in our lives at some point or another. Remember that time. Remember that the time when you woke up early to clean your house. Let me start that over. Remember that time. Remember that the time when you woke up early to clean the house, thinking it would take a few hours, but it took you all day. That's Parkinson's law. There might have been a time when you thought you will sit the night before the exam and revise for a few minutes, and it took several hours. Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law manifests itself in our finances too. Have you wondered how no matter how much money you earn, the expenses appear to keep increasing? That's Parkinson's law. The rich are able to defy this law to make wealth. Here's how some of them do it. You can try these too. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Reduce expenses. Some people look to reduce expenses. Some people look to actively increase expenses. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. I'm shopping like a billionaire. All right. The Parkinson's law is inversely related to your financial freedom. If you want to move your financial life forward, you should create a wedge between your earnings and your expenses. This wedge will be your savings. You need to lock your expenses down to a definite percentage of your salary. Save or invest the rest. The rich can handle their savings and investments to make wealth. If you ensure your expenses increase at a slower rate than your earnings, save or invest the difference, you will become financially independent. Set money limits. The Parkinson's law says that your expenditures rise to meet your income. When you earn more money, your needs become more, and you may end up spending more money. So in order to make wealth, you need to break Parkinson's law by setting limits. Motivational speaker and author Brian Tracy says, here is a rule that will almost guarantee that you will become wealthy over the course of your working lifetime. Save and invest 50% of any increase you earn in your salary or compensation for the rest of your career. You can spend the other 50% of the increase on improving your standard of living, but resolve today to save half of every increase for the rest of your career. This discipline alone will ensure that you achieve financial independence probably several years before you expect. You can set a limit to the amount that you spend every month. Then you will be able to save the rest of the money. You can even finish all your investments at the start of the month and then spend money. This way, you will be able to invest every month. Okay, there are a few more here and then this will be over. But I think a part of this is a word that Sheed uses often on his channel, which is budget. Budget is a bad word for a lot of people. It represents constraint. And in some instances, it represents pain. And for some people, budgeting is a bad word. All right. Live below your means. A lot of people don't believe in this. The rich always spend less than they have. They do not need to worry about debt. When you live beyond your means and take loans or swipe your credit card, you will not be able to save money. That's why you need to spend less than what you earn. You should start by making a contingency fund for those rainy days. Dave Ramsey calls that an emergency fund. At least 6 months of your salary should be saved in liquid funds or deposits as your contingency fund. Then draw up a budget. Draw up a budget and spend less than what you earn. I'm sure some of you have seen the James Sexton marriage discussion. I looked at his discussion with Rollo Tomasi, and James Sexton said that actual, and I've heard this before, actual wealthy people are different than the celebrities, and they're not out in the spotlight, and they don't have the same spending habits that celebrities have. So I thought that was interesting, because people keep subtly saying that real wealthy old money people are not the same as celebrities, athletes, entertainers, athletes and entertainers. All right. Anticipate additional income. There are many times that you can get a bonus or a windfall. It could even be a tax refund. You need to plan how you will spend it. The rich ensure that their surplus money is well invested. So you could take the bonus of yours, use a bit for a fancy dinner or purchase a gadget, and then you need to tuck the rest into your savings accounts for your financial goals. The important thing is to plan in advance. Create a savings routine and automate your savings. The rich always rely on their wealth manager to do things for them. The manager will ensure that the money entrusted to them is saved or invested for good returns. You need to cultivate the savings habit. The best way to develop that habit is to use the magic of electronic budgeting. Start saving by automating your mutual fund systematic investment plans. You can set up auto debits for your bank deposits too. You'll never miss it, and you'll be able to build up your savings amazingly quick. Yeah. So for those of you who are familiar with retirement savings, you know that if you save as a percentage, when your income goes up, your savings automatically adjusts, versus if you're doing the dollar amount, you have to adjust the dollar amount manually with the increase. But if you're doing a percentage, the income goes up, the percentage saved goes up. Okay, we're almost done. Now, some people don't believe in this. Some people don't believe in living below your means. The Rich Dad Poor Dad series is a good series to read, but Robert's pretty adamant about figuring out how to make more as opposed to living below what you have. And I think that's it's a consideration for all of us. How do you make more? How much more is enough? Stay a saver at heart. Always think of how you can save money. Do you know that most of the rich love good bargains? So that goes back to what James Sexton said. When we think of rich people, we think of celebrities and entertainers, but real rich people are actually, according to Dr. Thomas Stanley, they're very frugal and they don't like to spend, and they look for bargains. They don't spend lavishly for all that they want. They also try to see if the product is value for money. Whenever you purchase a product, compare the price across retailers. This will help you buy the product at discounted prices. You can do this for loans too. When you go for a loan, try to see if any lender is offering the loan at a lower interest rate. The lower the interest rate, the more the interest payments that you can save. Even though longer tenure loans can reduce your EMI, that's not coming to me right now, your interest payments will be higher. So opt for lower tenure, lower interest rate loans. We're at the end here. So keep on looking for great deals, comparison shopping, and tracking down discounts and coupons. Don't keep changing your household items often, including your phone. I'm thinking about LJ from Savings Minus Debt there, the debt slaves taking out loans for cell phones. Shout out to the SMD family. Even though you might love to keep buying new stuff, it will only cut down your savings, and this might result in you saving lesser money for your goals. So as long as the products in your house are working, don't buy new ones. Okay, that conflicts with a lot of people. A lot of people want new things, and they want the new things as they roll out. So money is actually a very emotional, and it can be a very I want to say a controversial topic amongst relatives, significant others, for the very things that are described in this reading. Try these methods followed by the rich, and you should be able to defy the Parkinson's law. If you want to apply the law right now, here are two things you can do. Suppose your financial position is going towards bankruptcy. What will you do? You will cut all those frivolous, unnecessary expenses, right? Then do that right away. Then you will draw up a budget. There's that bad word again, and spend only for the essentials. You will also ensure that you have enough money to pay those loans, or you will see if you can get lower interest rates for your existing loans. Carefully examine every expense as if it was someone else who was using your money. Aim for a minimum 10% reduction in your living costs. If you do all this, you will be able to see how much money you can actually save. Then you can minimize your expenses and see how much you can invest. The other thing that you can do is to resolve to invest at least 10% of your income. Even though saving is important, only when you invest your money will earn more money. Finding it tough to handle your wealth, mymoneypage.com can help you. Okay. So again, my intention was not to tell people what to do through this. I'm just sharing information. This is a topic that fascinates me, and I thought it would be a good jumping off point. So Sheet, if you want to come back, I'm going to show a couple things here. And Salchi, Sheet, whoever wants, if you guys want to come up, you're welcome to come up and respond to this, or we could go in another direction in the next hour. So that initial article I showed was the person said they make $350,000 per year, but they're living paycheck to paycheck. Well, how could that be? This is still online. This article is still online from the Washington Post. Some call it the Washington Compost. This classic article is still online. If you want to look it up, I'll drop it in the chat. The shocking number of Americans who can't cover a $400 expense. So this article is still online. And if you scroll down, there's an actual bar chart there. And amazingly, this bar chart shows that, yes, there are people who make six figures, 20, ballpark 20% of this data at that time. There are people who could not cover a $400 expense. I'm sure Salchi has seen this numerous times. Salchi, I'm going to show one more thing, and then I'm going to hand the mic over to you. This is from my own blogging platform. I wrote this years ago. This was a fun piece to write. This one was based upon a real experience, and it was called "The Difference Between Being Cheap and Frugal." And those words, people like to use them interchangeably, but they're actually different. Okay, and I lifted a quote from one of my coworkers here because when I was, well, a significant other called me cheap. Okay, my dad's been called cheap. It's House Dunbar is not a frivolous house. I'll just say that on either side, my mother's side or my father's side. So we always valued a dollar, and as if you have seen some of my the whole Kia thing with Ray Alexander, shouldn't Dr. Dunbar drive a luxury car? well, that's been a journey for me. You know, you have to. I think part of my journey has been learning to do, uh, you know, being wise, but doing a little bit more. But this quote here, when I told my coworker, well, actually, I think he blurted this out. He blurted this out one day in the pantry. He said, "Yeah," he said, "Hell yeah, I'm cheap, and I'm proud of it too. I want to save every single penny that I can. I don't mind getting perfectly good stuff for free either. My wife's family frequently gets rid of really good stuff, and I willingly take it." Okay, so some people would frown upon that, but this coworker, Hurdy, shout out to Hurdy. I'll just call him by his last name. He was proud to be cheap. So anyway, we're joined by the Equalizer and Sheed We Here. What's going on, fellas?
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, by the way, I probably shouldn't muddy up the stream with this, but another way you can make extra money is to fake an injury to the face. You can raise $40,000 that way.
It's over 50, I believe now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
All right.
Oh.
So I'll give it to you guys.
Well, what direction did you want to go in?
Well, first of all, we'll start with anything that I've read. Do you have any thoughts on any of this? Parkinson's law.
Well,
do your expenses have to chase your increase in salary or income or whatever?
Well, I mean, just based on human nature, that's what typically happens, because of feelings. And that's why I always, recommend just live your life based off of percentages, because regardless of where your income goes, it's just an easy way of budgeting, really, and you just stay out of trouble, really. I mean, see all the time, minimum 6 months, really it should be 2 years, but 6 months to 2 years of, annual, of your expenses. You don't want your household income to be above 25%. And typically when I say that, generally speaking, I'm talking about your gross income, but really I'm talking about your net. Because if I start talking about your net income, then people are really going to freak out, which really exposes the fact of what I always say is that most people don't make enough money, regardless of how much they save. Or if you're living on the coast, which the majority of us lives, like, you realistically need to be making over 100 grand single. Because just look at the rent alone. The rent by itself, forget about buying a house, putting money down and all this other stuff. Just rent alone, even if you're lucky and it's at your median, so $1,600 to $2,000. That alone, that's how much you should be making a week. Take home, after tax. As a majority of people make? No, most people don't make that kind of money. Not even gross, let alone net. So you're already behind, just in housing. And that's your biggest expense, which is why the government continuously changes how they calculate CPI. That's why they do that. So you don't see the truth. I can go on and on. I mean, the example you gave of the guy making 300 to something thousand is his payments. As soon as he said his payments $4,000, I already knew he spent too much for a house, which means he didn't put 20% down, which in my opinion, again, means he couldn't afford the house. Just because you make payments on something doesn't mean you can actually afford it. Same with a car. That's why I say house, 25% max, 20% down, 10% of emergency funds just for the house, not for annual expenses, 6 months, expenses. No, just for the house, because something's always gonna happen. Is a house, a car. That's why I say whatever you make in a day, there's your max. Or let's be liberal. 2 days. That's your max. But what is the average used car? Forget about new car. Used car in the last year, 2 years, how much is it now? It's well over $500 a month. It's insane. This is why people are where they're at. And then I send Dr. Dunbar a couple of stuff to prove a lot of the stuff that I say. People aren't making enough money. The government's taking more money. People can't see it. The inflation, again, they don't understand what inflation really is, or the rate of inflation, the changes. I mean, this is where we're at. That's what I'm saying. I can go on and on.
Yeah, and the crazy part is you get into a situation where everybody wants their forever home as their first home. You know, you're a first time home buyer. You want the granite court counters. You want the entry. You want the 5 bedroom. You know, you don't want to start small. Nobody wants to get a townhouse, something condo. They want the big one. And a lot of times they get talked into, well, I want to move downtown, you know, pricey. What's the number one thing where they talk about buying a house? Location, location, location. Sometimes you might want to start off, relatively small. That was the biggest thing with argument between me and my wife. She wanted to max out the budget, and I told her no. And it was crazy because I actually had a friend that was my realtor, and it was a joke. We laugh at it now that when they gave me a price that my max, I went in there and told my wife about like $150,000 less. So she was under the impression like, man, uh, we don't make that much money and this and that. And it was always to a degree. She was looking at the situation like, man, what are we gonna do? Let's see if we can offer more money. And the thing of it is, when it comes to women, it, I don't even like talking the gender topic, but most of the time, a woman would always in a relationship, they would say, well, he's my husband, so whatever I don't have, he'll cover, or it tends to, spend now and then worry later when we can't pay. And so by me doing that, being more responsible, now my wife understands it because it takes some people takes time a little older. It's not just with all women. It just preferably with the person in their lifestyle, the way they budget, the way they plan for things, and you go into a point of need versus wants, and that's always the problem when it comes down to situations like this. Do I need a 5 bedroom house when it's just me, my wife, and one child? I can
Exactly.
understand if you have several kids, but just 3 people in the house, why do you need a 5 bedroom house? Why do you need a big basement? I mean, I understand throwing parties and stuff. Hey, think about this stuff later. This is your first house. That's what I always told my wife when we went to go get cars. She always want these Mercedes until everybody convinced her it's a money pit. You sit there, you buy these nice cars, they're
It,
good. Go ahead.
they're called luxury cars for a reason. Luxury. It's not called an economy car. I mean, it's right there. Luxury. You don't need it. It's for people who can actually afford it. And most people cannot afford a luxury car. Like just look at how many luxury cars actually sell. And then look at how many people can actually afford them. The numbers are abysmal. Mercedes, especially German cars, European cars. I have a European car. It's a wagon, but still. You know how much I spent? Just for them. If anybody wants to touch my car, it's typically $500. If they want to touch it, just to touch my car. It's a freaking Volvo. So yeah, Beamer, Mercedes. Again, in my opinion, if you're making less than 150,000, you shouldn't be driving those cars. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I mean, unless you can work on the car yourself, or you got a real good mechanic who's not gonna screw you over. Other than that, yeah, you're gonna. I mean, you need like $5,000 set to the side just in case anything happens, because something's going to happen, especially once you get to that 75,000 plus miles. Yeah, but again, most people they don't actually own those cars. They don't even understand them. I do, and I don't recommend it. I tell people all the time, don't buy one.
Even with that guy, the 350,000, starting with him, I mean, that's, to be honest, most high end professionals. They, in debt and student loans, They have to get the luxury car to keep up
Yeah.
the status. So
They-
therefore, when it comes down to it, they don't have no money like that.
they're looking at their gross income.
Yep.
They're not looking at their net. They forget. If he's making that, he's over 300,000. So he's already maxed out federally. So off the top, he's already losing 35%. Just federal taxes, not including FICA, not including state. That's what people don't see. So you're already, just out of those four, you're already at 35%. State, depending on what state he's in. And then FICA. So he's well over. He's more like 45, roughly 44 to, I want to say 48% of his income's already gone. Gone. And he's making 350,000. So that's why I tell people that's still middle class. People don't understand. They really don't get it. 350,000 people. Oh my God, that's a lot of. No, it's not. You're an employee. You're in the worst tax bracket. Your method of how you get paid is the worst. I mean, some self-employed people, if they do it wrong, they're even more worse than an employee, a W-2 employee. But yeah, you're losing almost half of your income. And then remember, every time you spend money, it's taxed. So now you got taxed, right? Before you got your money. Then when you spend your money, you get taxed and you get fees after the fact, which compounds how much money you actually keep. This is what people don't see. And that doesn't even include inflation.
So, Satya, I was trying to send the files you sent over to my one of my Gmails. So are these links, or these embedded in the email?
I think 2 or 3 are definitely links. The other ones were images. I mean, they're like recent. I mean, we're talking like within the last either days or definitely within the last 3 months. Everything I sent. They're that accurate. They're that up to date.
Okay, so this one is a link. So Y401, is this Y401k balances by generation are so low?
Yeah, that's one I sent.
Okay, let me open this up over here.
Yeah, it was crazy. I actually seen a video on Instagram where they had a little cartoon skit of Joe Biden, and the guy says, "Oh wow, man, I made $1,200 this week," and Joe Biden's like, "Oh man, that's awesome. You know you gotta pay taxes on that." It's like, taxes? Yeah, the pay for the roads and this and that. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys gonna take care of me?" And the first thing he said, "Who said we gonna do that?" He's like, "That's what you just said." Nah, we said that we taking the money for the roads and the streets and everything else. We didn't say we was gonna take care of you. We just said we was gonna take the money.
That's
And
right.
that little skit had me laughing so hard, because people who get it and the ones that don't, like, yeah, they're taking our money, and I'm like, outside the box. Anytime they touch, anytime you get your money's getting touched every single time. You're paying taxes on top of taxes, like you just said earlier. You know, it's a never-ending struggle, and people complain about it. You can make more money, but you're still going to pay more taxes until you start changing different brackets. Even with the budgeting aspect of this guy who's making that 350, his debt to income ratio was so high,
That's crazy.
like they pushed him in that house. Like, go ahead, we know you're gonna be in more debt.
Yeah.
Yep.
It all depends on how you make your money. That's why I always say it depends. Depends on the present situation. Depends where you're at right now, age, your skills, you're ambitious, what you're willing to do, and then where you want to go. That's what I'm saying. Again, when it comes to income, the worst place to be is W-2 employee. Again, if Dr. Dunbar can get the images up, you'll see where the government gets the money from. The bulk of the money that they get their money from is from employees.
Okay, so I have all 3 links. queued up here. There's this one. There's another Financial Samurai link, and then there's this one there's the Family Budget Calculator.
Yeah, I love that one.
Okay, so which one do you want to look at?
You can go to the family budget,
All
and
right.
then because that one shows you you can put in the city you're in for the most part, and then put in roughly how much you need to make based on if you're single, if you're married, if you have a kid, 2 kids. So it shows you that scenario. It's fairly accurate. Obviously, it's kind of tough because things change, but you can just put any example and it'll show you. It gives it a breakdown. It's not 100% accurate. Of course, you would have to, do your taxes and all that other stuff, but it's pretty accurate. I give it a 90%. That's more than good enough, in my opinion.
Okay, so these 3 dots. You click on the 3 dots. It tells you.
Well, you got to start up top. Then you would put in on the left. You would put in the county or the metro area that you live in. That's first, and then if you just single or depends.
Let's do Arlington.
Okay. So well, I already know the numbers.
Arlington. Did I spell? Yeah, that's spelled right. Arlington.
And then put VA. It should pop up eventually because there's an Arlington, Texas too. So. Or try 22204. Yeah, I don't know why it does it like that with that. And then it'll like pop up.
No results. Okay, they don't want Arlington's. Okay, let me try Fairfax. Fairfax County. Okay. Oh, so this spits the numbers right out for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So housing. So these are averages.
Yeah.
So for 2 adults and 2 children, okay. So the housing is about $2,000.
Yeah.
For 2 adults and 2 children, that's about $1,000 a month. I'm rounding up.
Mm-hmm.
Child care is about $2,000. Transportation is about $1,154. Healthcare is $1,300, and then other necessities are $1,000. I'm assuming those would be things associated with children. Let's see. Taxes, $1,523. So your average total monthly expenses are $9,797.
Yeah.
And for a year, that's $100,000.
Yeah.
Wow, $100.
That's exactly
Worth of expenses. Wow.
See that? That's not gross. That's what you're going to spend. No savings, no investments, nada. And this is why I say in this area you need to be making. This is before the inflation. I was saying you need to be making at least 200,000. Now I say 3. That's why I say what I say. Like I'm just 100% about the numbers. Not my feelings. People can get upset all they want. This is what it is. And you need to make over 200,000 for you to even be in the top 10% of income earners now in this country, in this area. Before the pandemic, right before it, it was just under 180,000. As soon as the pandemic hit and inflation started, it shot right up to over 200,000.
Okay. If anyone wants this calculator, the link is here. YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. So the link is there if you guys want to keep that and run the numbers yourself. Let's change something. Let's do 3 children. Okay, so housing went up. Everything went up. Food, childcare is $2,000. Transportation is $1,200. Healthcare is $1,500. Other necessities are $1,300. Taxes are $1,900. So your monthly total is $12,000.
Yes, which means the parents each are making over 100,000. They have to, because look how much they're spending.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, it has to be over 200,000. In this case, it has to be over 3. If you want to have, in my opinion, if you want to have a future, no private schools, nothing special.
Okay. Let's do one more thing, Salchi. Let's do a bachelor or a bachelorette. Okay. So housing for one adult in Fairfax County, $1,700. Food is $335. Childcare, none. Transportation. Wow, transportation is still $734. Healthcare is $428. Other necessities are $735, and taxes is $911. 911.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your monthly total is about $5,000 of expenses.
Now, mind you, remember what I said? Single, you need to be making at least 100,000. There you go. Because when you factor in taxes, yes, you can afford it. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Minimum. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you could really shoot real low and make 85, but you're not saving. That's why I said you need to be making at least 100,000. That's why I say that, and it's not that far off from anyone living on the coast, any of the coasts. And California is worse because the state taxes are even higher.
JJ Mars says the calculator does not take into account any vacation, alimony, or child support.
And why should it? These are averages, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I said earlier, you need to use this as a standard, because even the taxes are going to change because it's based on your income. The food's going to change based on your consumption. The housing, depending on exactly what area you're in, because realistically, and I sent Dr. Dunbar the HUD rent calculator, which is up to date. 1,600, you're lucky.
Okay.
Easy $3,000. 25, $3,000, easy.
Let me change the county. Well, first let's take a look at Prince George's. Salchi, real quick.
No, PG.
The richest county in America for there you go, came right up. So housing, this is for a single person. So the housing came down about $300.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Food, yeah, everything's cheaper.
Yes.
In Prince George's County.
Yes.
Okay.
Much more expensive where I'm at.
And then I'll try one more county, because Salchi, as you know, a lot of folks move here to the DMV and they say, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm going back to where I came from.
They weren't ready for the competition, and two, they didn't. So wherever they moved from, most people don't understand. They don't know how to convert the income, because on the nominal number, because the nominal number is higher, doesn't necessarily mean you're actually making more money wherever you're from. 75,000 is not 75,000 everywhere. Where I'm from, the equivalent of 75,000 in Rhode Island here is just a little under 115,000. That's the equivalent. So if you're not making more than that and you moved here, you're actually not being paid more.
Mm-hmm.
People don't see that.
So this is Monroe County. This is in Rochester, New York. This is upstate. So housing, less than half.
Jesus.
Food is $272. This is for one adult. Transportation, it's about the same. I wonder what they're calculating for transportation. Is that a new car? 777. Healthcare, 438. Other necessities, 358. Taxes, 495. So
What-
it's cheaper to live in upstate New York. Go ahead.
They're probably factoring in payment, insurance, just gas, which respectively is not that bad because the average in this country is like 9,000 some odd a year. Freaking crazy.
Okay. So Salchi, so everyone, yeah, the link is there in the chat. This is a useful tool. This is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let me take a look again. So I have why the 401k balances by generation are so low. And then there's also 401k balances by generation from Gen Z to boomers. But you mentioned something else you said a HUD?
Yeah, it shows what the typical rent is wherever you're at.
Is that a link or is it because there's a lot of picture files here?
It's a link. It should be one of the first three, I think. First 3 or 4. It's definitely before the pictures. The pictures are last, so it's one of the first 3 or 4, I think.
So there's Epi Resources. There's Financial Samurai. That's 2. Let me. There's two emails here.
Okay, the first one. If it's the first email, hold on, where is it?
Financial Samurai. Resources budget.
It's on the first one. It's the third. It's It's the third one. It says FY 2024.
Okay, FY 2024.
It's the third one.
Okay, so this one, what the hell's going on?
While y'all looking up that, I can go over some different budgeting apps and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So basically, I think a lot of people, I don't know, to a degree, I've used Mint for years and talked to a lot of people that have used Mint. Mint is an app basically for budgeting. Unplug your bank account, everything to a T, all your spending habits, eating out, vacations, swipe your card. And even if they don't categorize it, you can actually categorize it by yourself. So let's say life insurance are going to automatically do that. They're going to do your car insurance. Let's say you have home warranty insurance. It doesn't categorize it, but you can actually go in there and categorize this home warranty and put it up in that category as insurance. Good budget. And that's when you start getting into the ones that really cost, like per month paying for these. Good budget, YNAB. That's another one. Pocket Guard. You had Rocket Money and Empire. Like all these dealing with budgeting. I mean, but self-explanatory. You can go to Etsy, go to a template from Google, write your budget down yourself, and then just critique have all your sheets planned out. You can get a calendar. They have budgeting calendars. Every other, I think 3 months or so. Walmart is selling these calendars for like 75 cents, $3 because nobody's buying them. Like I have one now that it has the dry eraser effect on there because it has the plaster over it. So I got it for 12 months. At the end of the 12 months, I can erase everything with some Windex or something and restart the whole year all over again. Add all my dates, expenses, everything. I have one on the wall. It's endless. A lot of people don't take advantage of these small things to actually take advantage of the big things, which you guys are talking about right now. Budgeting for homes, seeing the areas that you live in, how much it costs.
I can tell you that the number one program really in the original, Excel. People don't want to use it. People are lazy.
Excel's a spread. Yep.
The Excel, the thing. Now, you can go online and pretty much YouTube and learn how to use the thing for free on basic stuff. And I mean, and that's why I say, man, there's no excuse anymore. I mean, it's just people are just being left behind, and people may say that's harsh, but it's just reality. Like we're in an era where it's in America, in America now, where there's really no excuse now, because you have access, you have a cell phone, you have a laptop. I mean, the cell phones now have more power than or more access than Bill Clinton had as a president. You can go get you a decent laptop, $400,000.
Salchi, I'm gonna ask you to, if you can, because I must be. It's either hiding here in plain sight or.
Do you see the news release?
Yeah, that's right, the one.
No, it's right. It's the news release. Then EPI. You see EPI right under that. Yes. And then the next one right under that, it should say FY 2024. It should be that one. Yeah, you click right on it. It takes you straight there.
It's a picture file.
Yeah, it should be. It's a link. It'll take you directly to the website.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, the government tracks everything. People don't understand, man, especially when it comes to housing and real estate. Like when you're dealing with HUD, all these big companies, I mean, asset managers like being paid, anywhere from 90 to 150,000 to get this stuff right. And you're reporting this stuff every single month. Yep, that's it.
Okay, you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, I mean, you could put in you can select.
So pick a state.
Well, I usually use the second one because it's more accurate. It's metropolitan. So you could put DC area or you could put Arlington, but let me see.
Washington. It probably has District of Columbia. Well, maybe it doesn't.
I see. Or actually, go to the first one. DC's right there, right under Delaware. On the big one, first select a state. Yeah, it's right there. Mm-hmm. There you go by zip code.
Okay, so this is showing us Washington, Arlington, Alexandria, DC, Virginia, Maryland, HUD, Metro, FMR, area, small area, FY 2024 fair market rents. Okay, so I'm not going to read all the text, but Washington, Arlington, Alexandria, DC, Virginia, Maryland, HUD, Metro, FMR area, small area, FMRs by unit bedrooms. FMR stands for or what's this?
HUD Metro. I forget what FMR stands for.
Okay, so we have our zip codes.
Oh, fair market rent.
Fair market rent. Okay.
Fair market, which again you can use this, and that tells you before you move to see, or even right before you're gonna your lease is up, what have you, or if you're in a house, it doesn't matter. It's very accurate. It's gonna tell you whether you're paying roughly above, below, or around at the mean of rent. It's telling you.
So Aquatechie, I'm leaving it right here for you guys.
Like these are things that I use, and this is how I know where anybody's at. Or when you're doing like the IRS, they use this. Like, so if someone's sitting here trying to say that they rented out a single, a room, or they're using what's the name of the company, man, to Airbnb. This is what the IRS is using. So and they have stats. So this is why I tell people, like, you guys, you're not as smart as you think you are. They monitor everything. And this is why people get screwed over. They screw themselves over, excuse me, because they see the numbers and they just they have they're using statistics. So they have a ratio where it's like, okay, if it's above this, then there's something that they're not disclosing something. And then that's when they're gonna start investigating. People people really don't get it, man. Like it's just better to learn the game and play the game to your advantage than to try to cheat it.
Wow.
It's so much better. Less stress. You don't have to worry about any fines, interest, any of that nonsense. And then getting an attorney, like after all that, for the most part, you're in the red again. And you lost what, months or years? Doesn't make any sense.
So we have a request out there to do Houston. I think I'll need a county for that one.
Or I guess you can go to Texas first.
Okay.
Harris County.
Oh,
Think
yep.
that's
That's the epicenter of YouTube. Let's go to Harris County. Thank you, Sheed. Oh, well, the cities are here.
Yeah, after you put in the state.
The epicenter of YouTube.
See how much you would need, or otherwise raise money.
Okay. Okay, this is what's this? It must be a smaller city. Or let me scroll down. No, what did this table tell us? So an efficiency is about $1,000. A 1-bedroom is a little bit higher. A 2-bedroom is $1,300. A 3-bedroom, $1,700, and then 4-bedroom apartment is $2,300. Who is that? Aunt Johnson, is that about right? Sugarland, Texas. Yep, Sugarland. Woodlands, Sugarland. Okay. So Salchi, so what did you want us to get from this? That the folks should use this tool to.
That's something. That's something to, just to see. Again, it depends on before you make a decision. What are fair market rents right now? Whether you're going to move, whether you're going to have a child, whether you're going to buy a house, so you can compare. Like now, if you're going to buy a house, now you got to look at, okay, so what a house is going for right now, and can I actually afford a house? Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to a house, the average down payment is only 8%. So you're paying insurance because now your equity is less than 20%.
The 20. Yep.
There you go. So a lot of people don't know that. And here's the other thing. Exactly. Here's the other thing. A lot of people are about to find out, starting especially next year, for homes that they couldn't afford what high. The interest rates technically are actually average, believe it or not. It's just that the interest rates have been so artificially low that it was risen so fast that it appears high. But it's going to be property taxes. Because even if you get fixed rate, your numbers are going to change. Why? Your property tax is going to change. The government is always making sure they get paid.
Right.
So now, if you live in a place that has more crime, you're going to pay more. More social programs in your area, you're going to pay more. That's what people don't understand. For the most part, people who, I wouldn't say rich, but really solidly middle class, that's why they move out. One, they don't want to be near the crime. Two, why am I going to pay more money, more taxes? Doesn't make any sense. See, that's the other thing people don't see. The insurance companies, they got this stuff down packed, man. So your insurance is going to be higher and your taxes are going to be higher. Someone always has to pay. These people are talking about, oh, we need these social programs. Where's the money going to come from? The first thing they should be saying is, what's going on in my house, our family, our subculture? That should be the first thing. Not looking outside. The taxpayer should pay automatically. Where the taxpayers going to get the money from? Yeah, especially if you're in a lower income area. But again, people can't see. People can't see the forest for the trees. And those people are the ones who are always going to have problems. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, I couldn't, but that's even with people that are renting. They're complaining about, well, why I'm renting and my landlord is always raising my rent. Taxes, insurance. But who's going to cover that?
But remember, people, again, then they aren't owners, and they're looking at these super exceptions to the rule, because when people hear landlord, they automatically think like along the lines of like a Donald Trump. Do you know how the majority of you know not landowners or renter or landlords, they're mom and pops, so they really aren't even professional. Like, people don't understand this stuff. Like, they don't understand and they don't care, and that's fine. But you're gonna pay. And that's why I said it goes back again to finances. Like, when I get in the game, I'm telling you, people are going to have problems. I'm just going to run right through them because I know all the numbers. I know exactly where to look. I know the programs to use. I know what the big guys use. You're not going to, you can't win against those guys. The amount of money and the people that they hire to stay up to date because they have to always keep their finger on the pulse of the market, you're not going to win. I don't care how you feel about it. You're just not. You don't even understand the game. This real estate stuff is serious, man. Right now, we have a shortage. That's why people don't understand why the housing prices have actually recently gone up again. People don't understand how because we don't have enough. We aren't building enough first. And here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know what's going on that's actually been happening since the last real recession in 2008, the tradesmen, the quality of the tradesmen. What happened then? When recessions occur, because people have to survive, they go somewhere else. So the quality of the tradesmen since then has actually gone down. Or the guys who are really, really good, they either retired or they consolidated. And guess what? We're going through that. We're going through that right now. People don't understand that.
So you're saying there aren't enough quality tradesmen?
That's one. And then two, we don't have enough units. So yeah. So the prices have to stay higher. Not because of my feelings. It's just basic supply and demand, and then supply and demand on both sides. It is what it is. And then again, the interest rates was risen high in such a short period of time. We haven't seen anything close to this since Volcker. Since like right before I was born. I was born in 83. So people aren't used to this. Unless you were like, I want to say, late teens, early 20s at that time. Okay, then you understand, you went through it. The rest of us, no. So people are freaking out. And again, essential image showing that people's incomes have not kept pace with inflation. It just hasn't. And that's nominal. Forget about your real wages. Like, that's what I'm saying. People don't know how to read the numbers. And the government, they know exactly how to present it to you. And some salespeople and marketers, they know exactly how to sell it to you. I just look at the numbers. Nope, that doesn't make any sense. And then I dig down. Oh, okay, here's here. Okay, this is where they got it from. Oh, okay, they took this out. That's what's going on. Right now, they're saying, with the labor markets are strong. Really? You sure? Because a lot of people have retired in the last 2 years. That's one thing that people don't factor in. The second thing, there's actually a lot of companies that are actually laying people off.
Is that right?
Yes. And the other images that I showed that shows you either the business, the industry, or the economy itself, it shows you the ebbs and flows. Like people, like We're not in a recession yet. That's the next stage. Like, you're not going back. It never like happens like that. That's the next stage we're at. Because right now, that's what we're seeing. Interest rates have gone high. Credit crunches a little. A little. That's a start right before the recession. And companies stop laying people up, which has been happening. Last year, Wells Fargo, a couple other banks, they shut down their consumer lending. I mean, their consumer lending for homes. Period. Like, but people don't hear about it or they aren't aware of it. That's a sign. Clear sign.
It was
A
like
sign.
something about 20,000 or so.
I forget what the numbers were.
Yeah.
It was up there because you're a line item. You're an expense. I was looking at another company. It's a really good company. They just laid off, I forget how many people at first quarter of this year. They're in Bethesda. Well, one division's in Bethesda. That saved them a little over 20 million. Like people don't get it. They really don't. You can't get too comfortable wherever you're at. But I can tell you right now who does well in this stage, and especially in recessions. Guess who does well? The government. So if you're a government employee, you'll be all right. I mean, it's like when you have the knowledge I have, like you just see how stuff happens. Okay, this is what's going on. Okay, this is okay. So this is supposed to happen. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. This is taking too long. It's being prolonged, so it's gonna get worse when it actually happens. And you just prepare. That's it. The wealthy or the rich people, they have smart people in various places who that's what they do every day. So they have to keep their finger on the pulse, and then they just feed the information back to them. That's why they pay them the top dollars for. That's why the rich continue to get richer, the smart ones who don't do, dumb things. That's why. One, their income is so high compared to their expenses. And then two, they aren't W-2 employees. Like, people don't understand that. The vast majority of their income is coming from businesses, partnerships, interests, dividends, things that are taxed at a lower rate. Like, that's the game they're playing. And that's why I say they're on a different planet. You can't play their games until you have their... As good as it gets, you need to be a small business owner. And that's when you can start changing your taxes. That's when. But you better be a good producer. And you need to have people around you. Good banker, tax person, attorney. You need these things. Bookkeeper. Or else you're out. That's reality. I mean, this might sound, again, harsh, but this is reality. And this is going to get even worse for what I'm about to say. It's easy in America compared to anywhere else in the world. If you can't make it here, well, because they give out all these things, man. I mean, I just gave you some websites. Forget about the stuff that you have access to, for work, stuff like that. You think people are paying 5, 10, 15, 20 grand a month for information to be at the bottom or in the middle or even above average? Hell no. I mean, like, come on. Like, think. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, if you were to see the stuff that I see, well, most people probably just get depressed depending on, their ambition. But to me, it just wakes me up. I mean, This is America's as good as it's gonna get. People need to understand this is as good as it's gonna get. I'm telling you, even with all the craziness going on, I'm telling you, this is as good as it's gonna get. Don't mess it up.
Okay, we'll hang out for another 10 or so minutes, and I have to wrap up. So Salchi, so are we in a recession right now, or is that
we're we're not
coming.
we're not officially. That's the next stage. I mean, I know this is going to sound bad. I wish it had happened sooner. Let's just take the Band-Aid off and get it over and done with. So we're dealing with multiple things at this point. We still didn't even clean up the stuff from '08. So I mean that alone is already a problem. So, and then we kept inflating, and then we kept interest rates artificially low for well over a decade. What do you think is going to happen? And then the pandemic came. We shut production down. I mean, we're talking like a light switch. It wasn't something that we gradually did. I mean, imagine going, 120 miles an hour. I wouldn't say hitting a wall, but you have to hit the brakes hard. That's what happened. You didn't like slow down. That's what we did. So, and then they injected a lot of funny money in the system without production. And I'm telling anybody who follows me, who's been following me at least for the last 3 years, they can say Sasha's been on point. Bang, 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 bang. I'm telling you. I said exactly what it was on my Instagram. I said, I was in my car. I recorded. I said, if they give out all this money, we're gonna have serious inflation because they have stuff shut down. I mean, it's obvious to me.
There are no goods and services being produced.
Yeah, like what do you think is gonna happen?
More money circulating.
Yeah, but and look what happened. Who got richer? Did you? We saw the richest people get. We saw it. We saw how this stuff skyrocketed. Why? Because they owned all the stuff that we needed. That's why. It's that simple. It's happening right in front of people's faces, and they still don't get it right now. It's crazy. To me, it's scary that people still don't. They still can't put two and two together when it's like right in your it's in your face now. It used to be behind closed doors back, when I was a kid. Now it's in your face. They're like, oh, people aren't smart enough, or they're just scared.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, we're long overdue for a recession. I really hope we have one next year. We need to just get it over and done with. I'm telling you, you don't want it to be prolonged, or else it's only going to be worse because you're not one of those people. You're not like a legit rich person. Like what we've seen, we haven't seen in decades. Rich people, the last 2 years, they did not have to produce anything. All they had to do, and I was telling people to do this, dump their money in the Treasury, treasurydirect.gov, put it in there, and you're not getting taxed federally, you're not getting taxed by the state. It was the best deal. Risk-free, guaranteed. Nothing was better than that. Even now with the rate at 5%? I was telling people last year it was 9 point some odd percent. So anyone who's a legit millionaire and liquid, you put $1 million, $2 million, or okay, let's go with the current rates of 5%. You would need 4.5 million. Do you know how much that is a month? That equates to, depending on what ethnicity you're in, it's about $50-something thousand in a year. Tax free. But here's the kicker: you needed the 4.5 million. That's the other thing people forget. Compound interest. Yeah, compound interest is interesting when you start off with a lot. Compound interest takes a long time if you don't have a lot. And guess what? You're human. You only have so much time. And that's, again, goes back to what I always say. You need to make a lot of money. Legally. ASAP. Not to spend on dumb things, as I say. So you can invest. and enjoy your life. And enjoy your life. Just have a high quality life. That's what I'm talking about. Most of the stuff I talk about is not even about being rich. It's a whole different ball game, man. Be rich, different ball game. I showed you. I sent you another image that you could see on the bars that the vast majority of the income is coming from businesses. It's not coming from the vast majority of the the credit card debt. It's not rich people. It's everybody else. That's on my Instagram. Federal Reserve, they monitor all that stuff. It's not rich people. Now, where you will see rich people with debt, it's on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference. Not on the consuming side, on the production side.
Okay. So, Salty, last question, then I have to wrap up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
What is for everyone out there, what does a recession look like? Are we looking at lots of people being unemployed? We're looking at, what are we looking at?
Well, I can tell you right. Powell already said that he already said he wants to get unemployment up to about, I think 5.2, 5.3%. He said it. He already said it. Do you know how many people that is? That's 2 to 3 million people. We're not there. Because he's playing, because people need to understand the Federal Reserve and or Congress, our government, is two separate entities. Federal Reserves, their job is the strength of the currency, the USD, and of basically the credit market. That's their job. And that's why he can legitimately publicly state that. We need to get unemployment up. Why? Strengthen the dollar. What happened the last 2 years? Where was everybody putting their money? And I'm talking about other countries. With all the craziness that was going on, what did they purchase? Did you see them running to China? India? Any South American to buy bonds? No. Bought American bonds. That's what they did. This is bigger than people they really need to wake up. Well, yeah. So yeah, that's what a recession is going to look like. We're going to be at least, what Powell said, we're going to be at least 5.2, 5 point minimum. And then how long is it going to take to clean up? The typical recession is about 2 years. And that's why I say you should have roughly 2 years of reserves. That's why I say that. I'm using not my feelings. Because when that stuff happens, one, things correct or reset for the most part. So people say things get cheaper. Things really get, well, yeah, some things do get cheaper. Things, the prices of things become realistic again. But here's the problem. You don't have access to capital for the most part. And then you don't have the cash to benefit. Guess who does? Rich and wealthy people do. So those who are paying attention, that's how they get richer again. Like people don't, whatever average people do the opposite. I mean, just the lack of words, just do the opposite. I mean, it may sound crass, but that's what it is. So that's what a recession is going to be, man. I mean, and then obviously we have AI. Even looking at jobs right now, I'm seeing stuff where people want you to have, to know Python and all these things. And even in this area, I saw the price of the incomes for some of them. I'm like, who are you serious right now? They only asking, they're only paying $60,000 to $75,000, even $80,000. And they need to know Python. They need to know Microsoft PI. They need to know, I forget, something else. Even for 85,000 in this area? Yeah, all right. I mean, realistically. So now, on the labor side, you're seeing them, they're raising the standards again. So like people don't see, like, things are kind of going back to normal, I guess you would consider normal. People aren't seeing that. The power's going back to the employer now. And that's why you're also hearing about they're forcing people to go back to work. And then you factor in a recession, they're going to still be letting go of more people. Productivity has literally been going south for years. I mean, like, people need to wake up. So, like I've been saying, nameless protagonists, like we've been saying, you need to up your use your strengths and just update your knowledge. Like, I'm telling you, this decade is it. Like, these are the reasons why I say, like, I'm not exaggerating, man. Like, if you don't get it right, I don't care. Even if you're 25, if you don't get it right, you're pretty much gonna be behind for the rest of your life. Like, it's that serious right now. It really is.
Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap up here.
sorry to tell you the truth. I'll be the bad guy. I won't lie to you. That's what it is right now.
Okay. I have to wrap up. You guys have anything else you want to part on?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you do. Obviously, you don't get, in my opinion, you don't get enough. You don't have enough supporters, but I'm not surprised. It's educational, and it's something that actually matters and actually could change your life, which doesn't surprise me of why you don't have the supporters that you need to have, in my opinion. So,
me and Ron will talk about this when he comes back, but YouTube is about entertainment.
Yes.
And I have changed course a couple times. So, Ant says, I appreciate that, Salchi. Ant says, Equalizer, I feel like your stance is so strong because you are living in one of the most expensive states in America. Is Virginia one of the most expensive states?
Well, the area I'm in, Fairfax.
The DMV.
Yeah. From basically from Fairfax to Arlington to DC and then up to PG.
Montgomery.
It's like that, pretty much. Yeah. So, yeah, but again, the reason why we have everything here: tech, government. On Northern Virginia, we're top 3 business-friendly states in the country. So when you look at Fortune 500 companies, a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies in Northern Virginia. A lot. Headquarters.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a reason. Taxes. I mean, again, you just follow the money, man, and you see the truth.
Yeah, Ant says, I thought he was in Rhode Island. I think he's from Rhode Island.
I'm from Rhode Island. Yeah. Yeah. Born and raised. But nah, man, those of us who have ambition and talent, we leave. especially if you're our hue. It's not what people think it is over there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Italian stuff, I mean, it's dying down, but it's very real. Yeah.
Okay. She, do you have anything you want to say before we wrap up?
For the most part, budget, save, don't overspend. Just like you guys were talking about earlier when the broadcast first started, it was funny because I actually do a percentage of my check to a secondary account, so I don't even see it. So that helps me kind of put things in perspective as far as my savings, or if I need some money being available, then I know it's over there. It's like out of sight, out of mind, and you got to be strict on your budget not to touch it. That's the key.
Yeah. And that's a really big deal, man. That's a really emotional thing. And yeah. Salty smiling.
Last thing, wherever you see people spending a lot of money, put your money there. There's a reason.
Right.
There's a reason why these investment banks are giving money to certain groups. There's a reason. The investment bank, the purpose of an investment bank is profits, large margin. Okay? So people think they're just giving it to them. No, they're giving that's an investment because they know they're going to get it back times. So I would be a fool not to pay attention. I've been paying attention to that for the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, but just put your money there. Put your money there. It'll be all right.
All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap the stream up. I need to eat something and I'm going to head out somewhere just for a little bit. Everybody knows here I'm a writer, blogger. Ram said, "You're an author." I said I was an aspiring author. He's an author. I'm an aspiring author. But this is my newsletter. 2 paragraphs. There's a greeting. Just click that button. Takes you right there. Boom, you sign up. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and joined the list already. I promise I will not give your information away to a third party. That link is in the description box below. If you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are in the description box. You can leave a super thanks as well. And yeah, with that, again, I'm doing a discussion. I'm having a discussion on Tuesday with this gentleman, Dr. Sean Nelms. He wrote that book, Leading with a Purpose, Empowering Others to Create Lasting Change. So if you're not doing anything, please tune in. And it's a good book. I read it, and I have a bunch of questions for him regarding the book. So he's a Buffalo guy just like me, so we're going to have some fun. So with that, everyone, as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and we will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.